Hello, I'm Jo Howarth from the Happiness Club and welcome to another interview in my World of Happiness series. Today I have the frankly amazing Rebecca Lowrie from Self Alchemy with me, completely over the moon. Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, lovely. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. Now, can you explain what you do, please?
Yes, I've been thinking about this, what I do, and I think the core of what I do is I help people clear all the rubbish and debris that stops them being who they are in the world so that who they really are can emerge and they can have an amazing experience of life and themselves.
Cool. That's a good sentence. I like that. How do you do that? Can you verbalize that?
Yeah, I think I do it in a lot of ways. You know, in practical terms, I work one-on-one with people or do groups with people. But my methods and techniques, as it were, come from years and years of different experiences in personal development and self-awareness and learning to work with energy and tantra and whatever. And so it's lots of, I would say, if I had to choose like 4 keys of things, it would be breath, sound, movement, intention, and then as well as that embodiment and energy work and working with the body. And does that help? Does that explain?
Yeah, it's huge. I find, I mean, I've worked with you, as you know, and I find it hard to put into words what you do, but it is amazing. The effect of what you do is absolutely amazing. So can you tell me why do you do what you do?
I've been thinking about that too, why I do it. And I would like to be the person who says, for my daughter and to leave a legacy for her or the world. I thought for a long time it was to change the world, to make the world a better place. And there's an element of that in it. But when I thought about, well, there's other ways I could do that, I don't get excitement. Then I realized doing what I do just fills me up. It gives me a buzz. It makes me come alive. And I think that's what we're here to do. And so I've tried to quit, doing what I do. I was like, oh, I'll just get a job. I'll find, it'll be easier to be employed or, you have days like that. And then there's some part of me like, oh, I would hate that. I just am supposed to do it.
Yeah, I totally get that. I actually wrote something this morning about why I do what I do, and I said virtually the same thing because I do it for me. And you think as a person doing the kind of work that we do, that you're, like you say, my wife should be my children or my family, and they're absolutely part of it.
Save the world.
But actually, no, it's and helping the world and that's all part of it. But I get such a buzz out of helping other people and seeing the change in them.
Totally.
And like you say, you put it perfectly. It fills you up. It absolutely fills me up. What I do. Perfect. I love it. I love it. Love it.
Well, they say, and I think it's so true, you teach what you need to learn.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that for a long time, especially with, some of the other things I've done. But actually, it's really true. It's like, I think the reason I get a buzz, in part, is seeing other people's transformation. Really buzzy, really exciting. Yeah. But also, it each time I do that for someone else or facilitate that for someone else, I get connected to something bigger. I get to feel part of the whole. I get to, it's hard to put into words.
Yeah, it is. I get it. I understand. I'm with you. Okay, so we've kind of almost gone into answering the next question, but the next question is, what gives you the biggest buzz in your work, but also in your life? What gives you the biggest buzz?
Definitely in my work is when someone gets the thing that they've asked for. So, most people approach me because they're looking for a change or something to transform or something to be different, or they want to grow. They've reached some kind of success in life or business, but they know there's more. I say it's more like they want to deepen their experience of life. And when you see them sort of drop into that, it just lights me up in ways that almost nothing else does, actually. I mean, even talking about it is exciting.
Yeah,
And I was thinking about, well, what gives me that buzz in life? And it's hard for me to almost separate life and business in some ways. It's the same, because what I do is who I be.
yeah,
And so, there's that. If I had to separate it out, I would say things that give me a buzz in my life are definitely a good workout at the gym. Makes me feel very buzzy and excited. I'm sure there's a chemical reason for that, but also I feel like I've done something good for myself. And because I do it first thing in the morning, I've also then won the day already, which helps. Certainly being outside in nature, maybe not when it's cold like this, but connecting with nature really helps. Time with my partner and my family and loved ones gives me a buzz. There's lots of other things, the obvious things, reading a good book, and, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but sex as well gives me a good buzz, and
yeah.
Lots of things. Talking with you.
Ditto. And I think that's a good point, is there's so many ways to give yourself a buzz, isn't there? And I think we sit and wait, don't we, in life? We sit and wait for someone else to bring the buzz to us and facilitate the buzz for us. And actually, there's so many ways to create it for yourself. Really simple, easy ways to create it for yourself. Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's really important too, because when you're relying on someone outside of you for that, you're in trouble, because what if they don't show up, or they change their mind, or they don't bring the right thing? Yeah. Whereas you have lots of ways of doing it for yourself, you feel abundant and rich, and you're not, it's not that you shouldn't rely on someone else, it's just that you've got it all here already.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just people either, is it? And we had this conversation recently about relying on external events, things that are happening outside of you, relying on those to give you your validation or your buzz or your happiness or your whatever the thing is, whatever word you put with it. And we do that a lot, and we do hang our happiness on the people and the things that are happening,
and the circumstances
to us, rather than, like you say, realizing that it's in here all the time, any time we want to tap into it, any time at all, and that's all we have to do. And then again, it's the hardest thing in the world to do sometimes, isn't it?
Especially in this world that kind of reinforces all the time that you need stuff to make you feel happy, and you need likes on Facebook to make you feel valid, and and so all those things then create a kind of chemical reaction in the body as well that we get addicted to, and it's all a bit of a mess. But when you can step back and look at it and get a clearer perspective on it all, then you can, it just takes awareness. And then when you have awareness, you can make new choices, and then someone needs to remind you to have that awareness again. We're all helping each other, and then you can make those new choices again.
Love it. Okay, so if you could give, and I know this is hard, but if you could give one top tip for a happy life, what would your top tip be?
It's hard to choose one.
Yeah.
And I had thought of a different one, but I think I'm going to change it mid-interview, which is to be as present to each moment as you can. And what even is that? I think it's just agreeing with the moment that exists. I think it's Buddha that said, all suffering comes from wanting things to be different than they are. So if you can just agree with the moment, it is what it is, and then go from there and just keep agreeing with the moment. But that requires you to be present in it. Mostly we're distracted by the past or the future, And
I think it's the acceptance part as well, isn't it, that people struggle with? Because I know when I say to people, it's about accepting where you are right now, acknowledging and accepting where you are right now. And I always get quizzed on the acceptance bit, on the, well, I don't want it to be like this. I'm like, yeah, but that's like you say, that's where the suffering's coming in. That's where the struggle's coming in. You don't have to want it to be like this. You just have to accept that it is.
Right.
And then you can still move on and change things. But if you fight against it, that's where the suffering comes in, isn't it?
It's not condoning it as such. It's not saying this moment's great when, when everything is kind of shit. It's saying, this moment is shit. Let me be fully in it. Let me go fully into my pain or my anger or my distrust or whatever it is. Let me be fully in that thing. Usually then it starts to shift. but we fight it or resist it or have preference for it to be something else, which is where the suffering is.
Yeah, totally. And the more you do that, the more you get caught up in that emotion, that situation, that whatever you're in, don't you?
Yeah, and you recycle it and beat yourself up with it. The other thing I was going to say, so this is me sneaking in an extra one, but it feeds in is, and I try to remind myself this every day, is assume that the universe is always working in your favor. You know, John DeMartini says, see that everything is on the way, not in the way.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, everything is on the way, not in the way. Even if it looks like it's in the way and it's a big obstacle, maybe there's something you need from it. Maybe it's just to grow muscles of climbing over the obstacle to get to the other side that's going to serve you. You know, the universe has no desire to stop you or slow you down or squash you. Why would it? You know, it's supposed to grow and evolve all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it. And that's what I think, that's what we're here for. We're here to explore and expand and develop and grow. That's our purpose, isn't it? And to experience as much joy as we possibly can on the way.
Yeah,
in a nutshell.
Absolutely. We just need to remind each other of that all the time.
On a daily basis. On a daily basis, definitely.
Sometimes hourly.
Brilliant. So, if people want to find out more about what you do and how you do it, where can they find you?
They can find me at self-alchemy.com. They can find me on Facebook under Self Alchemy or Rebecca Lowrie, and also everywhere else. LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram seem to be the places I hang out.
Cool.
Under, I think, Self Alchemy in all those places.
Okay, brilliant. They're the same places I hang out.
Yeah, good places.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for allowing me to interview you and for giving us your pearls of wisdom today. And I'll be back again with another interview soon. Take care. Bye.